it's Lisa here from Lisa Loves Channel, doing another review for you today for Geek Legion of Doom. And today we're talking about a comedy movie by the name of Destination Dewsbury. This is a movie that is due to be released this month, March 2019, and it's directed by a very young director by the name of Jack Spring. The story as to how Jack got into directing with this is pretty interesting. He actually dropped out of university up in the north of England, up in York, and he was only at the tender age of 19 when he started to write this movie. He decided to self-fund this. The budget was £150,000 and he actually started his own inflatable hot tub business, which apparently did very well in order to finance this movie. So now that this is coming out, he's in his very early 20s, so he is one of the youngest directors in the UK. So Destination Dewsbury follows four friends. I'll just give you the name of the main actors here before I get started with the synopsis. We have Matt Sheahan as Peter, Dan Shelton as Gaz, David J. Keogh as Adam, and Tom Gilling as Smithy. So this movie follows the four friends. They actually were very close friends at school. The movie actually starts off showing them at school with voiceover narration, very similar in feel to The In-Betweeners, the UK show, if you're aware of that one. And then we switch to present day. They've all grown up, they've gone their separate ways. They haven't really been in touch, but something happens that forces the four friends back together. The father of the old leader of their gang, Frankie, reaches out to Peter and tells him that Frankie is actually dying of cancer. He has moved up north to Dewsbury, all the other lads are down south. Frankie wants to see them all before he passes, so the four friends get together and make the trip up to Dewsbury to see their friend before he passes away. So that's our very, very basic synopsis of the movie, but to tell you a little bit more about it, the strength of this movie is very much behind the characters. Peter, one of the main characters within that group, is a teacher. He's very unfulfilled with life, he's not in a very good relationship with his wife. Things aren't going as he would like. He's just at that sort of middle-aged, dissatisfied, just about on the edge of midlife crisis. Gaz is the member of the group that's very likeable but not particularly bright. Again, that reflects very closely with the particular In-Betweeners character if you've actually seen that series. Adam is a character with massive anger issues. He's a businessman. I think most lines in this movie are actually shouted. We're waiting for a blood vessel to burst in the movie. He has very serious, very clear anger issues. And Smithy is the very likeable, very naive, overweight, likeable chap who still lives at home with his mum. So we sort of got a good mix of characters there. As I say, the style was very similar to me to The In-Betweeners. I'm a massive fan of The In-Betweeners, so that to me cannot be a bad thing. So this movie follows them up north to Dewsbury, trying to reach their friend Frankie before he passes, them getting reacquainted after many years apart, the various upheavals that happen on the way, which I won't go into, I don't want to spoil any of the movie for you, and them inevitably reaching Dewsbury and reaching their friend Frankie. During this trip to Dewsbury, they're also actually being pursued by two Russian gangsters who are looking to catch up with the group to do their worst. I won't go into any more detail about any part of the plot or synopsis. That just gives you a basic premise of what we're talking about. So what did I think of Destination Dewsbury? Okay, so obviously I'm in the north of Ireland. I did actually live in Yorkshire for quite some time. I have been to Dewsbury, I know the area pretty well. I felt that although the lads obviously here are from the south, I felt they got the Yorkshire humour with regards to some of the characters who were from Yorkshire. We call it a B&B in this, which was hilarious. I won't go into any detail. We have a coach driver. We have family members of Frankie. Everyone from Yorkshire that they got in this, the humour was spot on, I have to say. For me, the real strength about this story lies with the characters. They were all likeable characters. Even Adam, who initially does your head in, for want of a better word. He goes on a real story arc in this and you actually come to like Adam by the end of this movie. All the characters you understand in their own right. They all have their individual characteristics. They all work very well together as a group, and as I say, if you do like the In-Betweeners type humour, you most probably will like this. There is some real gross out humour in there that should make you laugh. There are a couple of places where the humour falls a little bit flat, but strangely enough, even though this is a comedy and it is pretty funny, for me the massive strength in this lies in the third act. We move from a very funny, very fast-paced movie And we start seeing a little bit of heart, a little bit of depth behind the movie when we get into the relationships between the lads, between the guys, how they feel about each other, how Frankie feels about them, how they feel about him. When we get to that part, it does take quite a shift, and quite a nice one as far as I'm concerned anyway. The third act of this movie was by far superior. I did enjoy the rest of the movie, don't get me wrong. I felt that the jokes fell quite well generally. The direction was excellent. The acting was fantastic, which when you actually see the last part of this, you will see how good the actual acting actually is in this movie. The actors really pushed themselves in this, and they really showed multifaceted sides of themselves and the characters. So I felt it was really well representative of the area, of young men, of different situations men find themselves in, perhaps as they approach middle age, regrets, all that kind of thing. And it mixed humour and reality and heart exceptionally well. And I, for one, am flabbergasted that this was actually directed by a man so young. And he was 19 when he started to write this. He thought, to hell with this, I'm going to make my own movie, and he did, and I feel he's done an exceptional job. I'll be really interested to see anything else that he works on in the future. He does have, I did read an interview with Jack Spring, the young director. He does have sort of real life experience to draw from, in that his father, one of his school friends, actually died from cancer, and him and his friends made trips to see him before his passing, and Jack said that it really resonated with him as a situation. So he is really drawing from personal experience there and something that he has seen in his own life. And I felt that you really could tell that. It really worked. It was really touching. I actually cried at this movie. In saying that, it's quite easy to make me cry, but it was genuinely moving. Some movies, when they attempt that sort of to move straight from humour and gags to something that really makes you think, to something that is sad, it doesn't work. You feel yourself feeling quite embarrassed for the direction and what they're trying to do, and sometimes certain types of music that's used in movies to try and get the old emotions going, and you can see everything being manipulated, and you think, oh, I can see what they were wanting to do, but it's just so superficial and fake. This isn't the case with this movie. The heart in this is very honest, it's very down to earth, it's very real, and it touched me. I loved the general outlay of the entire story, of how it moves through, of how it ends, of the relationship between the boys, or should I say the men, and how it ended. It ended on quite a humorous note also. The only criticism I would have, if at all, to be honest, it's not really a criticism, the arc of the two Russian gangsters in this movie is not needed. It's in there, and I will say the lads that played the roles did a really good job, and there was one particular scene when they first appear that was really funny, that really made me laugh. Won't go into detail as to what that was, but I'm not saying they did a bad job. They were really good. Their characters were good, they were entertaining, but the movie was enough on its own. The story we got from the four friends travelling up north to see their friend before he passes in itself was enough. I would like to see this one do really well. I watched this with my husband, who is actually from Yorkshire. He's a Yorkshireman. He knows Dewsbury very well, and from what I could see, he really enjoyed it also. He made no comments about not liking it, and knowing a Yorkshireman, if he doesn't like it, he will tell you he doesn't like it. So yeah, it resonated with us, we enjoyed it, and I really hope that this does really well for the young director, and I'll be very interested to see anything that he comes out with in future. So I would score Destination Dewsbury an 8 out of 10. That's quite a high score from me, but I thoroughly enjoyed it and I was very impressed. So let me know in the comments, does this sound like something you would enjoy? I'd really like to hear your opinions, and I look forward to speaking to you next time.